Three Republicans have now stepped up and entered the race, the latest just this week when former Westchester County Executive Rob Astorino announced he's throwing his hat into the ring and seeking a rematch against Cuomo, who he challenged in 2014. Astorino kicked off his campaign with a swing through the state on Tuesday, including a stop at City Hall in Plattsburgh, where he was critical of Cuomo's handling of the COVID crisis and the scandals the governor's now facing.
Politically, he's extraordinarily vulnerable, there's no question, with all the corruption, with the federal investigations into the nursing home deaths and cover-up, into the Tappan Zee Bridge scandal, which is the Cuomo Bridge down in Westchester, Rockland, with clearly, the whole COVID situation has been a failure, I think, in many ways, with the impeachment proceedings potentially, with the sexual harassment of over 10 women. So I think politically he's in peril. But it honestly doesn't matter to me whether it's Andrew Cuomo or just another Democrat that gets off the merry-go-round that's going to double down on the same bad policies that have put this state in the situation it's in. So I'm running as much against Andrew Cuomo as I am against the failed policies and the corruption of New York. And it can be fixed. I did it in Westchester and I'll do it in New York.
When it comes to COVID, you were critical of the governor's handling of COVID. Aside from the nursing home deaths, what else do you object to that the governor's done as far as his handling of the COVID crisis?
His subjective rules and regulations, which have destroyed small businesses, destroyed restaurants, and have us as a state far behind the national average and far behind other states who found the right balance between public health and the economy. We didn't. And I think his very subjective and rules and regulations, which were so confusing at times too. I mean, the rollout was botched. We're so far behind the rest of the country, and it's all self-inflicted. It's all the policies coming out of his office, backed up by the legislature. Giving him complete and utter control, I think was smart for a short period of time when we were knee-deep in the unknown of COVID last March and April. But at some point, the legislature needed to take back their responsibilities, and they didn't. And one person with all that power is bound to not just make mistakes, but abuse his power, and he did.
You can watch Rob Astorino's full news conference on our website, where he talks more about COVID and whether children, teenagers, and even college students should be required to get a COVID shot. He also touches on whether the GOP nominee for governor in New York will need to seek the endorsement of and be a supporter of former President Donald Trump. By the way, so far, Long Island Congressman Lee Zeldin and Lewis County Sheriff Mike Carpinelli are the other two Republicans running for the nomination.